Today we're going to be talking about Jazzmaster pickup cover and knob replacement. You saw the comparison photo at the beginning of the video. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. Let's find out. So I'm of course going to be talking about my own personal Jazzmaster, which you can see over my left shoulder here. It is a Squier vintage modified Jazzmaster. Now it's from about 3 or 4 years ago when they sort of first came out. I believe that they have changed since then, and they currently come with Fender designed pickups. But at the time they came with Duncan Designed pickups, as in Seymour Duncan. And that's the reason why I got into this little adventure in the first place. So let me explain. When I first got the guitar, it came with these pickup covers. I'll try to show you a close-up of it here. If you can see there at the bottom, it says Duncan Designed clearly on the pickup cover. And you can see through there a little bit on this side, and that's actually glue, which I'll also talk about later in the video. Now, I personally never liked having Duncan Designed written on the front of the pickup cover. Most plastic pickup covers don't have any labeling on them at all. Now, to be honest, part of it was that they were broadcasting the fact that these were lower end pickups, but I've always been satisfied with the color of these. So what drove me into trying out new pickup covers was that I recently realized I wasn't really happy with the bridge pickup in this guitar. I always thought that it was a bit mid-rangey, had a little bit too much of its own character, and never really fit with the neck pickup. So I did a little bit of research and come to find out the Duncan Designed pickups in these Squier vintage modified Jazzmasters are actually pretty hot. Anyway, to make a long story short, I ended up replacing it with a Seymour Duncan Antiquity 1. Now I'm going to do a video of this comparing the two with some sound samples, so be on the lookout for that. So of course I changed out the bridge pickup. I left the neck pickup alone because I've always been satisfied with it. Consequently, I changed out the pickup covers, which is what we're going to talk about here today. In other words, what color they are, where I got them, and how easy it was to install them. It was a little bit tricky, as I mentioned earlier, because the Duncan Designed pickups were actually glued into the pickup covers. Now, after I did all that, I got kind of curious and did some experimenting, and I found that I could get the Duncan Designed wording off of the pickup cover. So you can see the one over here has the wording and this one does not. So I'll show you a clip of how I did that in a second, but let me preface it by saying that when you rub your finger over this Duncan Designed wording, you can actually feel that it's not embedded into sort of the plastic of the pickup cover, that it sits on top. So what I did is I took some off-the-shelf paint thinner, I applied it to a paper towel, and then used my fingernail underneath the paper towel to sort of scratch at the labeling on the pickup cover. And with a little bit of effort, it came off pretty well. Now, if I look really hard at this pickup cover, I can see a tiny hint of scratching, but like I said, I used my fingernail and a paper towel, nothing really abrasive. So will I go back to these? I'm not sure. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe like we YouTubers always tell you to do. Now let's get into the rest of the video. So we're just taking a look at the packaging that the pickup covers and knobs come in. Nothing too special to talk about, but I do want to talk about the color. Now Fender offers this plasticware, if you will, in 4 colors. There's black, there's white, there's parchment, and there's aged white. Now I went with aged white with my Strat project that I did not too long ago, and I was very pleased with the combination of the aged white and a mint green pickguard. But to be honest, this color of aged white with my Jazzmaster, I don't know if it's the Sonic Blue or if it's the gold anodized pickguard, but it just looks more on the cream side versus the aged white that really fit well with my Strat. If you're interested in that Strat video, you can click on the eye in the upper right part of the screen and it will take you to it. So here is the part number for the pickup covers. The intention wasn't really to show you that, rather it was to confirm that the color was in fact aged white. Okay, so now I'm going to show you me installing these pickup covers, which for the most part is not very interesting, but I just wanted to point out that the beautiful thing about the Jazzmaster is that you can take the pickup covers off or the pickups out without having to remove the pickguard, unlike say the Telecaster, or at least the neck pickup on the Telecaster or the Stratocaster. Now I'm assuming most of you know this, but for those who might be unaware, there is foam underneath Jazzmaster pickups. What the foam basically does is it acts like a spacer and it puts the pickups at a particular height, and then when you screw down the screws, you can adjust the pickup height to taste. Okay, now for the infamous pulling off of the knobs. Now I don't have a great way to do this, as you can probably tell. I'm using the thin cardboard from the packaging to sort of protect the pickguard. So they make tools that make this job easy, but it's something that I don't really do a lot of, and I don't want to invest in something like that. I don't really think it's necessary. As long as you're careful, you can use a simple screwdriver, something to protect your pickguard, apply a little bit of pressure to the underside of the knob, twist the knob, and repeat, and it should come off without too much of an issue. So this is the Fender branded knob. This is how they come. You can tell on the inside there's no ridges or splines. That means you can apply them to a CTS or alpha style potentiometer and they should fit. Basically, when you press the knob down, the potentiometer shaft splines make their own grooves inside of the knob. Now on my Jazzmaster, I have a little bit of a unique situation. The tone pot is original and it's an alpha style potentiometer. The volume potentiometer is actually a CTS style. And I just did a video about replacing the volume potentiometer in this guitar, and I talked about some issues you can run into when trying to mix and match alpha and CTS style plastic knobs. Again, if you're interested, click on the eye in the upper right hand part of the screen and it'll take you to that video. Okay, so here we are swapping out the pickup cover on the bridge pickup. Now I told you earlier that I had already replaced this pickup with an Antiquity 1 from Seymour Duncan. So the pickup you're looking at right now is in fact that replacement Antiquity 1 pickup. So with the neck pickup, I had to take a bit of an extra step in removing the cover from the pickup, but I had already replaced the bridge pickup, and so that's why you're not seeing that extra step at this point. Here's a better view of the underside of the pickup. Now I actually have the original foam that came with the pickups, and I added some foam at one point to increase the height of the pickup. And guess what? I have a video about that too. If you're interested, you can click on the eye in the upper part of the screen and it'll take you to it. So here is the extra step. For whatever reason, when they manufacture these pickups, they essentially glued the pickup to the pickup cover. But instead of being like a glue, it's more like a silicone or a caulk. It's a rubbery substance. And although I don't really show it, the best way to get this stuff off is to use something like a small flathead screwdriver to pry up the end of the adhesive or caulk or whatever you want to call it. And then once you do that, you can just peel it off with your fingers easily. Now, of course, you don't want to stick anything sharp in between the pickup and the pickup cover because you could damage the pickup in doing so. So just be careful when you're doing it and it should be no problem. Now, in addition to this silicone type substance on the underside of the pickup, on the top side of the pickup, they actually used maybe like a spray adhesive or some other type of adhesive to glue the pickup to the pickup cover. And because of that, as you can see, there is some residue on top of the pickup itself and inside of the cover. So if I do in fact choose to use the old pickup covers, I'm going to have to find a way to remove all that excess residue. But of course, the new fresh pickup covers did not have that issue, so they went on with no problem. So that's basically it. It's a pretty straightforward changeover. Of course, the question remains for me is whether or not it was a good change. I thought I really liked the aged white pickup covers and knobs, but seeing them installed on this guitar in this application, I'm kind of still on the fence. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below and tell me what you think. Okay, that's it. We'll see you in the next video.